Hey, it's your boy Jose from Big Meat Sports. How are you guys doing on this lovely, lovely Wednesday? Wednesday in South Florida. Today is a beautiful day. The weather's beautiful. Man, this is. I'm hoping we get more weather like this, and this waking up in the 60s, chilling in the 70s. I think it's going to be the high is like 81. It's better than most of the uh, weather that we get in the 90s. So it's a great change for us people of South Florida. But what it is, guys. I just want to apologize for not coming on here last week. Had a lot of things going on. I did want to rant and uh, get on here and talk about the disgust about the Cowboys and their performance for the 49ers, but that is done and over with. Let me see if my mic's pretty good. Okay. Um, that was probably where one of our worst performances ever, and I didn't think that. I thought the game was going to be a little bit closer than that. And we just laid an egg. And I swear, people are going to be saying, "Oh, you only come on here when Dallas wins." No, I wanted to come on here and talk about that debacle in in San Fran, but this had like a lot of stuff going on. Daughter was a little sick, so I had to take care of that. And then by the time I had some time, it was already coming down to the Chargers game, so I just saved it for now. But look, I just want to talk about. Let's talk about now. And if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the page. Please like the page. It helps a brother out. I appreciate you guys. But let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys versus Chargers. Now, this was a great get back win. I want to say that Dak Prescott really impressed me. Uh, we've been yearning, we've been asking for him to run the ball, do the RPOs where you just hold the ball and take off for like 5 yards. He took off for 18 yards for a touchdown. We needed that. Dak was, the offensive line is. We have all of our starters there. It's just the cohesionness that with the offensive line is not there yet. And I know some of them are battling injuries, but Dak was probably hurried most of the time while he was back there. So just escaping out of the pocket, extending the play, I think Dak did a very, very great job of that. The one that he threw to Tony Pollard that Tony Pollard caught and went for like 60 plus yards, that was crucial in the game because at that time of the game, you would say that the third quarter was dominated by the Chargers, and we were still in the game. It was a tie game at that time, but the Chargers basically had the ball for most of the third quarter. So it was crucial for Dallas for them to go down the field and score, which they did on that after that rollout. Um, but let's talk about something like and I'm gonna put this uh in our comment section, and please comment if you can. But is it time to bench Gallup? Okay. Gallup had three receptions for 24 yards on 10 targets. 10. Now, you would say most of those were just throwaways. I no, no. I'm trying to figure out what's up with this connection with Dak and Gallup because it's not working. It's not. Dak targeted him 10 times. He only completed three. And there was one that he should have caught for a touchdown. I know Asante Samuels did a little hip grab and flung him, but the ball was in his hands. He should have had it. That's just me. So please comment below and I'll read your comments, but please comment below. Do you think it's time to bench Gallup and give some playing time to Jalen Tolbert? I mean, how long are you going to go and sustain and with this Gallup playing mediocre? Not even play like sometimes it's just bad. He's not getting separation. His separation is probably one of the lowest in the league. I want to say, his separation on the Chargers was like 2.1, even though Brandon Cooks was a little bit closer. But we know Brandon Cooks' separation. But Gallup is just, man, this is getting worse and worse. Um, Look, and Dak's incompletions, like, so he was 21 for 30. So most of those incompletions were going towards Gallup. Do Are the Cowboys going to give Tolbert a shot at this? Do they go via trade and get Jerry Judy or Cortland Sutton or somebody else? I don't know, but if you want this offense to keep on, if you want this offense to progress and keep on clicking, Dak cannot force it to Gallup. Gallup, look, I was giving him a break last year, first year after the torn ACL, but this year, this is where you get more confident in that knee. Uh, and I don't see it. I don't see him going back to the old Gallup. He can't get separation. He's getting like bullied off the line. We thought we were going to get that Gallup and be the one that can be like the almost like the Des Bryant, even though nobody can be like Des Bryant with contested catches, but he was close enough, and he was only the only one on the team that can do that with the contested catches. But it's not there anymore. It's not, and it's something that you have to discuss because it's getting that point in the season where you should have some cohesionness with your quarterback, and you don't see it. And I wish that Dak would try to force it to more to CD Lamb and Cooks than Gallup, because, man, look, Cook had all his targets. I think it was 4 targets, and he caught all 4. CD Lamb had 7 targets. He caught all 7. Look. It's just it's not working. It's not working, and I want Dak to use the tight ends a little bit more. Ferguson only had 1 grab after that. 2 weeks ago, where he had 7 grabs and caught all 7. It's kind of weird because Dak used always in the past relied on his tight ends as a safety blanket, and we do have good tight ends. Even though I don't know if they kind of fell out with him towards at the beginning of the year because the tight ends were dropping the ball. But man, you got to go back to Jake Ferguson, because there's a lot of times during that game on Monday night where Jake Ferguson was wide open in the middle of the field. Now, some of them, Dak couldn't try to make a throw because of the pass rush that was getting towards him. So that's understandable, but man, I just felt like there's a lot of times that Dak was just trying to just force it to Gallup. But look, we're gonna go on the other side of the ball and talk about this defense. Now, I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous all week on what's gonna happen with LVE not in the lineup. um, because technically you only have one linebacker, and that's Damone Clark. We can have Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons more of our edge rusher to create havoc. But he is, technically, I guess you can call him a linebacker, but he's more of our edge rusher, create havoc. So we needed somebody to step up. Needed somebody to step up. And who was that person? Marquise Bell. This guy had a game for the ages. We talked about him, and he's like a hybrid guy. Like, he's more of a safety, and he's very undersized, but the way he attacked the line of scrimmage and had Eckler in the backfield most of the time, or meeting Eckler at the line of scrimmage, he had a game. And there was one play in particular, I believe it was a third or fourth quarter, where he shot the gap and got Eckler for a 2-yard loss. I've never seen LVE shoot the gap as fast as Marquise Bell did that play. and it just like we need that. We need that. It sucks because that was Marquise Bell is playing our Overshawn package, because when Overshawn was with the team at the beginning of the year, that was his role. Overshawn was going to be our run stopper, but then he got torn ACL. I believe it was a second preseason game versus the Seahawks. So it's good to see us bounce back on the defensive side, on the run stopping side, because Eckler didn't have. I think he had 40 plus yards of rushing yards. So I was glad that that happened. But there's kind of cause of concern in the back end. Um, Bland had a good game. I think Bland should have had 2 picks. Okay. One of the picks, if he picks off the ball, it's probably a house call. He doesn't, then we have the punt where Tolbert touches it on accident because he thought he thought this guy touched it, and then the Chargers would went down and scored, and this game wouldn't even been close if that didn't happen. And then the other play was I believe a fourth down play where Bland uh, broke up a pass in the end zone. um, you could have said it was a tougher catch than the one that he should have had a pick six, but Bland is having a good game. It's just the double moves. The double moves are really they could have, if Herbert was on point, and now everybody loves Herbert. Everybody loves Herbert, but a lot of people are kind of realizing that he is kind of overrated here. And a lot of people are kind of realizing that Tua is better than Herbert. Now, if you go back on my YouTube page and look at it, where we compare Tua and Herbert and who I go for, I said Tua. A lot of people were roasting me and stuff like that, but look at Tua's record. Look at Tua when healthy. Okay, I don't think Tua misses Keenan Allen twice. Now, there's a bunch of times that Herbert missed him, and I mean the game could have swung the other way. Um, if you really look at it, there's one double move that when I saw it happen, I was like, "Oh man, that's six," and he just overthrew Keenan Allen on the sideline. Um, so what are your thoughts? I mean, to me, I still think that Tua is better than Herbert. I don't know how much weapons you want to give Herbert to prove himself. Yes, and then I know he has a banged up finger, but I just feel like with Tua's work of body, and if you see him when healthy, his win percentage is better than Herbert's. I just feel like it's just look, if the Chargers were the Cowboys, they'll be talked a lot more of being overrated, of being the team that has all this talent and never gets it done. Because how much talent do you want on that team? All right, this team had Keenan Allen, Williams, even though they got the rookie, I believe it's Quentin Williams. Um, Eckler. They have a decent, probably a little bit above decent offensive line. Their talent on defense, just the names: Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, my boy, and my boy from FSU, and I just lost his name right now, but they have talent. Asante Samuel, they have talent on the defensive side, and they always come up short. And so I kind of knew, like, when this Cowboys game was getting down to the wire, I can trust in Dak to take us down and get that winning field goal. I can trust his defense to make it stop, which they did. Micah Parsons was creating havoc. He didn't have the sack numbers that you wanted, but the pressures that this defensive line, I'm telling you, this defensive line is serious. Just creating that pressure. as a quarterback, it makes you think twice because if you're just sitting back there, you probably make those passes where if Herbert's is not having pressure at all, he's probably making those passes because he's not worried about the rush. But now he's worried about that pass rush, and it's like I got to get rid of the ball. Hurry up, and that's makes for errant throws and short throws and you know all over the place or tucking the ball and trying to run. But with talking about this defensive line, let's give it up for D Law. Let's give it up for Odigizua because Odigizua is becoming a beast in the middle. He's no Aaron Donald, but he's becoming a beast. And his leap from last year is 10 times better. Like I've never seen that big of a leap on a defensive lineman for the Cowboys in such a long time. But he's going out there, he's clogging up the holes, he's getting tackled for losses. It's I think I want to say the fire lit up his butt after the draft because when we drafted Mozzie Smith, you you knew what they were drafting him for. They're saying, hey, we have troubles stopping a run. We have Hankins, we have Odigizua. We need somebody else because he felt in his mind that you know what, they're trying to replace me. I need to get better, and he did, and I love it. So we need to continue that through these next. We come back versus the Rams. We know the Rams like to run the ball also, but we got to stay consistent on stopping the run. And let's talk about something else. Hey, look, the main focus that on this Dallas Cowboys team on this whole offseason was who's our kicker. Well, damn, like I said it before, we got a kicker. Brandon Aubrey, we got a kicker. This guy has, well, I'm knock on wood, man, but this guy has not missed a field goal attempt. Okay. It started off rocky when the first game of the season where he missed the extra point, but he has been flawless ever since. So we're gonna keep on riding that wave. It looks like when he kicks field goals, it's like flawless. Like he's like barely putting any effort into it, and it goes straight down the middle. That's why I think that the first game where he missed the extra point, I think the nerves and everything got to him, and he kind of shanked that thing left. But look, it's looking good. So that's the least of our concerns. Our concerns right now as a Cowboys fan is trade deadline coming up. Now, what are we going to do? Because we need linebacker depth. Okay. We can't just rely on these packages. We know people are going to get hurt. So there's some positions that I would like to address before this trade deadline. Linebacker, I want to get somebody in. We even though we got Rashad Evans, we don't know how much he has much in the tank, but get another body in there. Corner. It's just the corners are scaring me a little bit, and especially with Gilmore. He's you can see that they're using him on more like abusing him on crossers because they know that if you basically go up and down the field with him, he can jump a route, which he did on that last play for the interception. But they're trying to use his slow speed because he's up there in years on crossers and try to keep up with the wide receivers, and that's where they always get Gilly on that. And then Jordan Lewis, he had a little bit bad game this past game. I would love to trade for Patrick Surtain Jr. But are the Broncos going to get rid of him? Well, you never know. So it's always to float the idea out there. And O line, I think our we've gone into the season worried about the O line depth. And we were hit with the injury bug at the beginning. Now this O line has had now 2 games to play. And again, you don't see the cohesionness with this O line. Um, we have studs on the O line, but you just know how they play. Somebody's going to get injured, and we need backups because our backups are not as good as we want it to be. Um, so we'll see. Now we're gonna go and if you guys, thank you guys for tuning in again. You guys can comment. Let me see if there's any comments because I didn't check on the chat. Let's see. Nope, we don't got any comments yet. But you guys can comment anytime you want. I see that you guys are listening. I see it on the views right now. So thank you guys for listening. Again, don't forget to hit like and subscribe the page. But let's talk about the Dolphins. Now we're going to talk about the Dolphins. And we're not going to go too much into the Dolphins because I was watching that game and, I woke up late because I worked overnight. And I'm like, whoa, shit, Carolina. They're they're kind of winning here. They're ruining a lot of people's tickets. Las Vegas is winning right now. Um, but this is what I love like about this Dolphins team. It's just one in 1 second they'll be up on you with 21 points because that's how fast striking of an offense that they have. Um, A Chain was out, so most of the running back duties was on Mostert. Thank you, because I have him on fantasy. Yes. And I have Tyreek Hill and Tua. So, hey, JC, my co-host, I'm sorry. Beat you in both fantasy leagues. And I know you were hating on one of them because I had a lot of Dolphins on that league and it gave me a really a big win. But talking about this Dolphins team, they're gonna be tested next week versus the Eagles. Now, can the Dolphins dominate the Eagles? I have the Dolphins winning, and I don't know if it's me being a Cowboys fan wanting to win, but I feel that if the Dolphins can protect Tua, max protect their DBs, Eagles of DBs cannot keep up with. I don't think anybody could keep up with, but they cannot keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It's going to be interesting because you're going to have to run the ball too on the Eagles. You can't be predictable. The Eagles do have a good pass rush, so you don't want to put two in that predicament and getting hurt because they got some big boys. And I do feel like when the Eagles have that package where it's mostly the big boys in there, it's not really a pass rush. It's a semi pass rush, but it's more of the big boys. I think that if the Dolphins can play up tempo and keep those big boys on the field, I think it'll be a success. You're not going to run, downhill on them. You're going to have to take them to the side. So it's pitches, screens, all this other stuff to the boundaries. You got to make those big boys move. Um, and for the Dolphins on defense, who's going to match up with AJ Brown and Devontae Sip? Because um, Devontae Smith is probably the fastest one, so you might want to put your fastest corner on him. I think X should be on uh, AJ Brown, more physical. Um, Please, you got to find Kohu. Don't put him on AJ Brown. I mean, don't put him on Devontae Smith because he might just get torn up. So hopefully the Dolphins have an answer for that. But you're gonna have to put pressure. Lane Johnson is out. He might be still out for the Eagles. I believe it was an ankle injury. So um, you saw in that game versus the Jets when Lane Johnson went out, it was a compromise on the offensive line. Jalen Hurts was getting sacked. He was getting hurried. And let's talk about something. And that just reminded me there. LaShawn McCoy. I don't hear you talking anymore. When the previous week you're like, oh, he's back about Dak Prescott and go pick, pick, pick. Well, Jalen Hurts is back. Pick, pick, pick. That boy's leading the league in interceptions. What like you come on now? You got to give the same energy to Jalen Hurts as you give to Dak Prescott because hey, Jalen Hurts, I believe, had 6 interceptions total last year. He has 7, and we're only what 6 games in. Woo! Hey, somebody's turning the ball over, and a lot of people are trying to defend him and this and that. New play caller doing this and that, and I get it. I get it, but you got to get that same energy. You got to get that same energy that you give to Dak Prescott. Got to give it to Jalen Hurts. Not taking care of the ball. Now I think it's creeping in the back of his head now, because I believe the previous game he had 2 interceptions. This game he has 3. So I think it's now creeping in the back of his head, and he's not taking care of the ball. And that was one of the main things with Jalen Hurts is this offense is talented around the board, offensive line, receivers, running back. Just take care of the ball, which he's not. Um, and we're gonna see, because look, this is my other question that I have for you guys, and you guys can comment below or comment on the restream on YouTube or whatever the case may be. But what will the Eagles record? What will be the Eagles record after the next 7 games? Because I got them like I want them to lose all of them. But I know that they have a gauntlet, and I'm gonna put it up here. So I got to go on my phone real quick. But the Eagles' next seven games are the Dolphins next week, the Commanders, which always give them a hard time, then the Cowboys. I feel like Dak Prescott 8-2 versus the Eagles, so we can hopefully we can take care of that, and that's in Philly. Then they have a bye week, but then they go Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, and then Seahawks again. I don't think I even counted that Seahawks game as a 7th, but then the Seahawks again. Woo! We're gonna see right now how good those Eagles are. Are they fraudulent? I don't know. It's gonna be a good test. So I want to know, like, as Eagle fans or this NFL fans, what do you think? What do you think their record's gonna be after these next 7 games? That's a tough one. That's a tough one, because I do think they're gonna lose to the Dolphins. They probably beat the commies again. If they don't, they're in trouble. Um, I do think that Dallas will beat. I think Dallas will sweep the season series. So Dallas will win 2 of those games. So now you're just looking at if they can beat the Bills, Chiefs, and 49ers. They probably could beat the Bills. I'll give it to them. They probably could beat the Bills. But that 49ers game, the 49ers are looking for revenge. And the Chiefs, I mean, the Kelsey Bowl, that might be a close one. That might, I might. It all depends on how many losses. Who's in more need of a win, because Patrick Mahomes is has been on and off this season. So we'll see how that game comes about. But I'm telling you, I have a good feeling that I knew. See, if you go back on on some of the podcasts that I have, I already said it, that gauntlet of for the Eagles, that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one, and we'll see how they come out of it. But I do think the Dolphins are going to win this game. My prediction, on this Dolphins versus Eagles game, I got 35-20 Dolphins. I just feel that the Dolphins are going to go out there gun blazing. Tua is going to have a game, because this is where you kind of really gauge where the Dolphins are. They serious contenders? Again, Dolphins versus Bills, it's like Cowboys versus 49ers. You can't, that one team always has your number. You might win here and there, but Bills just have the Dolphins number. So we knew what to expect. But this game right here for the Dolphins is to put them at number one in all rankings and so on and so forth. So the Dolphins can come out with this victory. It's going to say something. It's going to say that this team's for real, and it's going to show that my prediction of Dolphins versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl it might come to fruition. Um, but nah, that's all I have today. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the page. Hey, and if some of you guys are love to talk about sports and want to jump on the podcast, please hit me up in the DMs. I know that we do have some co-hosts, but life is busy, so I like to venture out and get some new people on here. JC's living a busy life, so when he can, he always makes an appearance and stuff like that. But unfortunately, he's a busy man lately. Duncan, I knew a lot of you guys love Duncan on here. Duncan, is working a few jobs here, so he's not as available as I would like. We're not on the same page right now. So I wish, because when Duncan talks, and especially about when Duncan talks about the Canes, this guy gets into it, and he knows a lot about college football, a lot about high school. He just knows a lot about football in general. I just wish that he can get back on here. We're trying to get him back on here. Got to see if he can get some PTO hours so he can just can jump on his podcast, or maybe on his lunch break he can jump on a podcast. But I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to spread the love, spread the kindness. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.